Patriot.
Hey, this is Skylar.
My name's the Devil's Rejects.
I'm the big-time wrestling heavyweight champion, Flex Armstrong.
I'm the connected
Rusev Day every day?
It's Rusev Day every day.
Exactly.
And you're watching the Wrestling Connection.
You're watching Wrestling Connection.
And watch the Wrestling Connection.
You're watching the Wrestling Connection.
I hear that women gain immortality from licking the feet of babies.
What? Say.
Be connected, get connected, and stay connected, brothers.
Allison.
Hello, Allison, and welcome to the
Be connected, get connected, stay connected.
Let's get the big. Of course, with the official presentation. Thank you.
Get connected, be evil, or die.
Moving on.
Be connected, get connected, stay connected.
And welcome to episode 240 of the award-winning, most must-see show to ever hit the Bedford TV airwaves, or any airwaves for that matter. North, south, east, west, backwards, frontwards, diagonally, sideways, any which way you look at it, all around the world. The best wrestling talk show, stateside or worldwide. The Wrestling Connection. I am your host, your connection to the wrestling world, the fedorable felon, the pontiff of the pro wrestling populace, the man whose future is so bright he must wear shades indoors at all times, Mr. Ken Hill, also your Big Four pay-per-view champion, and alongside me, as always,
The consumer of wrestling knowledge, the prize fighter of the Wrestling Connection, the breaker of Kens, the dragon with the gold, the multi-title title holder, Dan Kaufman, Point Break King. I mean, how many names do you need before you get to the fact that we are here delivering all the things that you need to hear
in wrestling today. Now, of course, I have to apologize for last week. I was mistaken. Not the first time. Won't be the last. Today, we are not covering WWE Evolution. WWE Evolution, the first ever all-women's pay-per-view in WWE history.
But not wrestling history.
Not wrestling history. Will be covered next week. Next Friday at 3 p.m. In the meantime, though, that does not mean we will not bring you high adrenaline news. And we are pumped because
There's some stuff we got to talk about.
there's been a lot going on. There's been a lot of controversy going on surrounding a particular show going on over in Saudi Arabia. That would be WWE Crown Jewel, which happens to be taking place next Friday.
Which, guess what?
Actually, no, 2 weeks from Friday. If I'm not 2 weeks from Friday. My apologies. 2 weeks from Friday.
Not that it really matters much to us, unfortunately.
Not really, because today is the only time that Dan and I are actually going to be talking about Crown Jewel, because given what's been going on, and we will explain everything in full today, but suffice to say, because of the controversy surrounding this particular event, Dan and I have taken a solemn vow to not provide any live coverage. We are not going to, outside of this one episode, so tune in right now if you can.
The only time we'll be talking about any of this stuff after the show itself is if there is, in fact, a title change or it actually plays some kind of event in a future storyline.
It has a purpose in a future storyline. Otherwise, nothing. Nothing else comes past these lips or those lips until after the show is said and done. Whether it takes place in Saudi or takes place somewhere else, if WWE is smart enough to relocate it.
Yeah, well,
But because that just
unfortunately, considering a track record, we have to think about a track record about this kind of stuff, and I mean, actually, because you know what, today Today's a new segment.
Today's a new segment. Today's just the episode's one big segment today.
Yeah.
Because today we have Ken's Den.
Ken's Den.
We have the consumer's corner. But think about it. Usually we just end up running across one another anyway in our own individual segments. So you know what? Why not combine them? Why not combine them to one big segment? And when we say big segment, we mean huge. We mean explosive. We mean deconstruction. That's right. Deconstruction.
We are deconstructing this piece by piece, brick by brick.
Bit by bit, molecule by molecule.
That's why it takes an entire episode.
Exactly. Now, of course, believe me, I got a lot built up right here about this, but I'm gonna have Mr. Dan lead things off here because he has just as much on his mind as I do about Crown Jewel. So, Nick, if you want to bring up the Crown Jewel photo, just the logo photo. Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
So the entire reason why we have to bring this up is because the fact that WWE had made a 10-year, $400-some-odd million deal.
Reportedly, $450 million.
And
for one or two shows a year.
And, we already got through the first one, which was Greatest Royal Rumble, which, with the exception of crowning new tag team champs, which were already vacant, had little to no bearing on anything, period. We haven't seen anything about Braun Strowman's belt or anything like that because it means nothing. It literally means nothing.
Exactly. The big problem with this, I mean, I'm hosing on you already.
Go for it.
Is that it's a propaganda tool.
Mm-hmm. That's
exactly
literally
what it is. It's literally all this is. Crown Jewel, Greatest Royal Rumble.
When we got to Greatest Royal Rumble, it was always in the beautiful city of Jeddah. Progressive city of Jeddah.
Progressive, beautiful city. You had nice wide landscape shots. You had men dancing. You had women looking elated as they were finally allowed to drive. And John Cena giving a shout out to the honorable Saudi royal family.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But we already saw what this was. We saw it was a propaganda piece, and it was literally just to make them money. And because of that, they're able to get names back, which they wouldn't normally have. And then you come to the Crown Jewel. We're ready to just suck it up again, deal with another show where it's just going to be another propaganda piece. And then more and more things happen. We're getting names that we don't want to see. We're getting events that we don't want to see. And then as much as I don't like to mix politics with our little pro wrestling bubble, but today we're bursting that bubble. Yeah, let's just get this out of here.
Exactly. We're just gonna just get this out of the way. Of course, if you've been watching the mainstream news, you know about the controversy surrounding the disappearance and supposed death. Nothing has been confirmed of a U.S. implanted citizen, Mr. Khashoggi. He's also a journalist here in the stateside. Also a Saudi native. And because of some disparaging things, criticisms against Mohammed bin Salman, against Saudi kingdom officials, supposedly when he went over to the Saudi consulate in Turkey, he was supposedly withheld within the consulate, interrogated, tortured, and accidentally dismembered. Now, again, this is just the Turkey government saying this. Nothing concrete has come out. They do have some strong evidence against it. Nothing has been confirmed, mind you. So we're just relaying what we know. We don't. Nothing has been confirmed.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that's going to have major implications on a lot of things.
Now, as it correlates to what's going on here, the fact is that okay, this is going on while WWE is trying to be the big old happy-go-lucky, naive, big puppy dog, trying to put on a good face, going over and having a good time, and trying to create change, trying to bring about change. That's
the only change
that's been the boilerplate message. For
the
WWE.
only change that's happened is the fact they stopped saying that Crown Jewel's in Saudi Arabia. They just say at Crown Jewel.
Exactly. Ever since this controversy, ever since this news has come about concerning Khashoggi, there's been no mention of Saudi Arabia, and all that's been coming out is concerns from anonymous WWE superstars that they don't, from the current roster, they don't want to go. They do not want to go with all the danger that's going on, with all the risk, and okay, the fact that you are going to a country that's had a historical disregard for human rights and basic decency.
Yeah.
I mean, the women driving for the first time. Yeah, they seem to just kind of whitewash over the fact that weeks prior there were female activists arrested for promoting this, trying to promote the right to have the same thing, promote the right to have, arguing the right for women to drive. They were detained by government officials, and they were even sought after for a death penalty. So I mean, it's
Saudi. We don't want to really go into the politics of the things that happen in Saudi Arabia.
We don't, but I mean...
This is things that do have to get brought up because it is the nation that Vince McMahon and WWE executives
have a deal set up.
Not only have a deal with, are bringing these people who do not want to be there into there again via threat of losing their jobs for speaking out.
Essentially. It goes without saying. I mean...
That's
the fact that all these concerns have been anonymous. No one has come out and said,
"It's the mindset.
I don't want to go."
It's the mindset from behind the scenes because it's not. They're not going to say anything for losing a push or losing their careers, and it's one of those horrible things where this is. Here's where I'm going to start here.
I mean, yeah. Actually, I think I know where you're going to go. Let's start with one wrestler in particular, Sasha Banks. Sasha reportedly out with an injury. Yet we see her getting a tattoo. We see her working out. We see her with all these social media videos and messages. At no point saying, "Okay, I'm recovering. I'm on my way. I'm healing up. I'm ready to go." No, basically just life as usual.
Yeah,
acting like
saying needed a break, a mental break.
A mental break. Oh, okay.
Around the time,
so it had nothing to do
with
it had nothing to do with an injury. How odd. So and. I seem to recall that she was one of the people who had concern. I mean, she obviously didn't say that she didn't want to go, but obviously the fact that there are anonymous superstars who don't want to go, and the fact that we haven't seen Sasha on television for several weeks.
She's one of those who actually does speak out.
She does.
And this could easily be seen as a punishment, which is a message to all other wrestlers. The only ones who said they should go,
Randy Orton
and John Bradshaw Layfield. Both of whom really are not known for, the caring and well-being of their fellow wrestler.
Exactly. Nick, are you back there? Could you bring up the JBL photo, please? Thank you. All right. So here's JBL on Varney and Cohen, Fox News. Basically, he's explaining, and he said in so many words, okay, we need to go because when you have a situation like this, you need something like WWE. You need an agent of change. Now, all these senators, all these officials, all these people, flag waving, trying to pick up their own pitiful ratings. Okay, that's just wrong. We're doing this because we need to do this. Okay, here's where the flag waving part gets so hypocritical. When he talks about when he goes into this spiel about 9/11, saying we were one of the first groups on the scene when the twin towers were burning,
which is true.
When it wasn't okay, it was true, but the thing is, it has no correlation to what's going on here and now.
Very true.
No correlation whatsoever. The fact that you want to criticize other people for flag waving and you want to bring up how patriotic you were being there, pulling out the bodies from the flaming wreckage. Good for you. But that was over 17 years ago. Has no correlation to what goes on here and now.
Yeah, the whole point of what happened with 9/11, where that SmackDown was the first ever mass gathering since, was the fact that we were trying to recover from an attack from outside.
Exactly.
An attack from others who wanted to disrupt the United States of America, and this is the first mass gathering showing that we wouldn't let that happen.
And it was a very honorable notion done. They put
Yes.
they put all storylines aside. They came out as one unified group, came together, and just put on a show for the sake of entertaining the United States audience. Good for WWE.
This is honestly, they're going to a country that is infighting and willing to attack others who disrespect their governments.
Fighting U.S. allies.
Yeah, fighting U.S. allies. And that is putting danger upon the wrestlers, especially those who don't want to go. And
Not just the wrestlers, the employees, the workers, the ring crew, everyone. Everyone is at risk who goes over to Saudi Arabia, not just the wrestlers.
Yes.
And then, I mean, speaking of U.S. allies, and here's a kicker. Okay, Nick, can you bring up the World Cup photo, please? Nick, can you bring up the World Cup photo, please?
We'll wait for him to get the picture. We'll just start.
Well, okay. Well, we'll start while he's bringing up the photo. So, speaking of which, now people have been wondering, okay, why did WWE put together a World Cup tournament? So basically, the World Cup tournament by WWE is basically you have 8 participants in a one night tournament to figure out who's the best in the world. Basically,
the World Cup to determine who is the best in the world.
Basically, just a very kind of redundant notion. And the reason behind this, the sole reason that a World Cup was organized by WWE was that because Saudi Arabia sports officials were upset, the Sports Authority of Saudi Arabia was upset that Qatar won the bid for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. So they wanted to have a World Cup of wrestling. That's fine. It makes a...
It's a bit pandering, the fact that WWE is like, oh, okay, that's what you want, we'll do it.
It's a bit of pandering. Makes a modicum of sense, I suppose. So, and I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Something similar to the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't hurt. I mean, it's something you can do. I mean, you have enough wrestlers that represent the different nationalities. You can bring them all in. You have Cesaro, you have Rusev, you have Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor. You know, you could bring in guys from the UK. You know, all this
like Tyler Bate, any UK champion Pete Dunne or Trent Seven, or any of the new UK stars you brought up for the WWE, like the NXT UK division. All right, so Nick, can we bring up the World Cup photo, please?
So instead,
can you bring up the one with the participants in it? Thank you. All right, so
take a good look at that lineup.
So yeah, let's just
those are not all the participants, by the way.
No, let's
those last two on the right.
They're not participants, but there are not. But it illustrates our point. So I did pull it up the last. I didn't actually see Balor in there, but all right. So ignoring Balor, Balor's not in in the actual tournament. So let's go over who's actually in the World Cup tournament. Let's see. John Cena.
American.
Kurt Angle.
American.
Randy Orton.
American.
Jeff Hardy.
American.
Miz.
American.
Rey Mysterio.
Actually American. Born in California.
Born in Chula Vista, California. Okay. And let's see. Let's see.
Seth Rollins qualified. He's American.
Seth Rollins, American. And Dolph Ziggler.
American. There is not a single person.
Americans. 8 Americans in what is a World Cup. The definition of a World Cup is a sports tournament featuring either teams or individuals from several different countries. Different. Key word. Different. You have 8 different superstars, all from the same country.
Let's say people who could have entered this.
Drew McIntyre, Scotland.
Drew McIntyre took on Dean Ambrose. Took on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins won. Seth Rollins in. Drew's out. Shinsuke Nakamura took on Rey Mysterio. Shinsuke lost. Shinsuke's out. You know, it's the sheer amount. It's the sheer fact that
Rusev Rusev faced
Rusev
Miz,
versus Miz.
and
Rusev's
Miz
out.
rolled him up in 30 seconds because of a distraction by Aiden English. And so basically, you had three international superstars who could potentially taken place in this tournament. A tournament that ultimately may not mean anything storyline-wise. And you didn't do it. So not only is WWE kowtowing to a big Saudi payday, they're not even doing it right.
You know what? You know what they could have done, which would have been okay with having 8 American wrestlers? Is a thing we haven't even seen in a while. I think it's called what is it? King of the Ring.
King of the Ring. King of the Ring. I mean, it's been noted that the Prince Solomon is a huge WWE fan.
He'd
He's
know
a big
what King
fan
of the Ring is.
WWE nostalgia. He would love King of the Ring. So I'm sorry. Would that be offensive to his dad? I'm sorry.
Change the name. Sultan or something. The
right.
Crown Prince of the Ring.
Sultan of the Squared Circle. I don't know. Okay, but I mean, call it King of the Ring. Put 8 veterans. Okay, here's the problem with this. All these guys. Okay, the youngest superstars you have in here are Miz and Randy Orton, at 38 and 39 years of age. That's the youngest of the 8 superstars.
I mean, with the exception of, I think, what is it? Seth. Seth is the only one who is considered a recent addition to WWE.
Okay, yeah, my
as
apologies.
opposed to everyone else.
Seth's like what, 33, 30?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, in
But he's
early
also
30s.
Yeah, but he also is the only one of these guys who joined after 2010 to be on the main roster.
Everyone here has been like here for years.
Which is why they're probably part of the tournament, because they're the ones that the Crown Prince would recognize.
And
So
because good knows you wouldn't recognize anyone today, and that's okay. That just expounds the problem, the fact that WWE has no discernible face of the new generation.
So before I continue with that, one question: just if someone here wins, how likely is it that that's gonna ever show up in any storyline?
I mean, I suppose if Miz were to win, he could parlay that saying, okay, I won where Daniel Bryan lost to AJ Styles. I should be the one challenging for the WWE Championship. See, that would be a coherent, sensible way to play off of the World Cup.
Yeah,
but who else can really capitalize off that? Rey Mysterio? Okay, he's probably here for like the one night. He's not here full time. Okay, Randy Orton doesn't gain anything from it. Jeff Hardy doesn't gain anything from it. Kurt Angle certainly doesn't gain anything.
Kurt Angle will just say, "Hey, look what I did during vacation."
All right, yeah. John Cena he's off doing movies with his new JBL haircut. He doesn't have anything to gain from this. Maybe when he wins, he'll cut it. But
and yeah, you say Miz will probably if he did win, he'll probably bring it up the night after, and that's it.
There you go. That's
what happened with Braun. He mentioned he won, and then it never came to place again.
I mean, what would Rollins really? I mean, Rollins might have something to gain from it. We don't can't be sure, but I mean,
it means nothing.
It doesn't, and it means even less the fact that you don't have any international superstars.
Very true. So it's once again just here for them. And
how was it that I put it to you last night? That WWE has a bumper crop of international superstars on the main roster, down in NXT, over in NXT UK, even our cruiserweight champion is Buddy Murphy hails from Australia.
Not to mention they have really good working relationships with other indie promotions like Evolve if they wanted to get someone interesting like Walter.
And yet they're going to go with essentially essentially 8 superstars that make up the grade A 100% block of American cheese.
Yep.
That's all it is.
It's either Attitude or Ruthless Aggression era. That's it. That's all that's there.
That's all. That's it. That's all there is. That is literally all there is.
So, the other thing I wanted to bring up is the fact, like I was saying, this is Attitude and Ruthless Aggression with one person from the new era, Seth. That's it.
That's it.
So what the WWE is doing right now is they're showing that when it comes to Saudi Arabia, they are rather be shown as behind the times instead of being progressive. And moving forward.
So that's the irony. They're trying to show how progressive Saudi Arabia is, but they're not afraid to take 3-4 steps back into the past rather than show that they're just as progressive as the country they're trying to kiss up to.
Considering the fact that this is a day and age, a culture where everything you do is scrutinized and looked over with a magnifying glass and a fine-tooth comb, everything you do, and the fact that they're trying to push forward with this all they're doing is if they want to be seen as progressive, they need to make an ethical choice, maybe not a financial one, which they're not hurt for thanks to Fox. They don't need this.
Fox. Okay, here's the details of the Fox deal that we didn't get to when we announced this. We didn't know all the details. Here's the big one. Here's the big detail. Okay, the Fox deal is for $1 billion, a solid $1 billion for 5 years, with SmackDown being on the Fox Sports Network. So let's put them up on the board. You got the Saudi Arabia deal, 10 years, $450,000.
Million.
$450 million. The Fox deal, 5 years, half the time of the Saudi deal, and over twice as much at $1 billion. And that deal is already set in place starting fall 2019. So the thing is, if Fox, what happens if the bigwigs at Fox say, okay, you know what, we're not comfortable with what's the deal you got going on here.
Money talks.
Money talks. So the moment they say, okay, we might just pull the deal for next fall, Vince will be out of Saudi so fast it'll make Muhammad's head spin.
Now, let's get this straight. They've yet to have Crown Jewel. The only thing that they could do, because even after all this controversy happened,
they've saying they've just been monitoring the situation.
So, but even though this event happened, they're still pushing forward with Crown Jewel. They keep talking about the matches that are coming up. So the only thing they could do if they want to get out of having in Saudi Arabia is having Crown Jewel somewhere else.
Exactly.
They can't cancel it.
Now, here's the thing. There's an arena in the UK that's available. You could, and heck, if you wanted to, you could take half the guys out, put some UK talent in there, and have a true World Cup. That would actually make more sense than just having 8 American superstars.
Imagine, here's an interesting idea. If they do that, they bring it to UK. Imagine the winner of the World Cup gets to face Pete Dunne.
Imagine
that immediately puts Pete Dunne and the UK division on another tier because you have to work to get to him.
Imagine this: John Cena versus Pete Dunne, Kurt Angle versus Pete Dunne.
Kurt Angle and Pete Dunne have been in the same arena before, back when Kurt Angle actually worked with what's now Defiant Pro Wrestling. That was when he took on Cody. I remember that.
Imagine having the Bruiserweight versus possibly the greatest Cruiserweight of all time, Rey Mysterio.
That would be great.
Imagine just how...
Cruiserweight versus Bruiserweight.
Just imagine how entertainingly destroyed Miz would get going up against Pete Dunne.
We need a terrified person on that.
Oh, yeah. That would... Imagine just Miz begging for mercy, when Pete Dunne's got him by the finger. No, don't break.
I don't normally bring him up just because of the things that have happened. But I remember when Enzo was the Cruiserweight champ, and he's like, "Let's have some random person come out."
And then Pete Dunne goes up, and Enzo is scared to death, and you could not blame him.
Yes. So there's great opportunity, but more likely than not, they're just gonna say it was too late. We couldn't pull out.
So either they're going to go through the show and cancel the deal afterwards. They'll just go through with the show and continue the next year, then cancel the deal.
Yeah, if they want to continue, most likely what they're going to do, this is what I think is going to happen, is they're going to have the show, say it was too late to pull out, and then they'll be renegotiating, and then they probably won't have the next one until the same time next year, late into the year, and hopefully everyone would have forgotten. Which is not something I would put above Vince.
It's not something that's going to happen. No, you honestly think we're going to forget about this? You think honestly, if by some miracle Dan and I are still hosting by next year? Well, I'm still hosting by next year. That okay? We're going to forget about this? Okay?
No. If they continue with another show, we're just going to have to ignore it, just like this one.
Exactly. We'll just ignore it anyway. Okay.
It's not like this show is made for us.
Not like anyone from WWE watches his show. Yeah, not like we haven't seen things that happen that we called.
I'm willing to bet there's not going to be a single title change.
No, of course not.
There's no point.
There
can't be an IC belt.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's a glorified house show. It's all it is. Mm-hmm. Like, the only title change you've seen on these international events is the Cruiserweight Championship changing hands, and now is because the challenger was from Australia. From Melbourne specifically.
Yes.
That was the reason, okay?
I mean,
to get the huge pop. Was it a huge pop? Yes, it was. It was a great match.
Mm-hmm. And it was my match of the night on that one.
It was the match of the night. It was a great match. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have
if you had one of those hometown heroes in the States, they wouldn't win.
But you have to give the crowd something to have them go home speaking positively of it. Mm-hmm. Okay? If you want people to kind of forget about all the hoopla going on, do something at the show that people will never forget. And I'm not talking about the Golden Oldies tag team match where you had to drag Shawn Michaels out of mothballs and Kane out of his office in Knox County to get to do. Oh, okay.
We've gone on record about how we feel about Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement to take on.
I'm sorry, but yeah. Oh no, we haven't gone this far. Okay, here's my problem. I'm not even angry at Shawn Michaels. I'm disappointed in Shawn Michaels. I am disappointed. That's worse. That is worse for me, being disappointed in someone who, for the past 8 years, I had even more respect for than when I did when he was an active wrestler. For the past 8 years, okay, he knew his role. He knew his role as a legend, a Hall of Famer. Okay, he stayed off to the sidelines. He spent time with his family down on their Texas ranch. Okay, he came in every once in a while to promote a big-time WWE event. He would come back to do a couple of promos here and there, help build up superstars like Daniel Bryan in 2013, Seth Rollins in 2015. Okay, he knew his role, and he was a trainer he's a trainer down at the WWE Performance Center. Yeah. So he's doing everything that a legend in his position should be doing, and that's helped building up the new generation.
And if you've ever listened to him on podcasts, he gets to talk about his giant freaking ranch and his kids who are doing great and well for themselves, and he's living well.
So it's not like he's like Ric Flair. It's not like he's destitute. It's not like that he's living his gimmick as the Heartbreak Kid, a womanizing guy throwing money left and right. Okay, he's a born-again Christian. He's married. He's got kids. He's got a very well-off lifestyle, very lucrative lifestyle.
Yeah, it's not like veterans, former wrestlers who need to go on to GoFundMe and Kickstarters just so they can get enough money for a hip surgery.
Or like Ric Flair, who had a huge retirement party after WrestleMania 24. I cried when I saw that. I cried. It was a beautiful segment. It was beautiful. Everyone came out to celebrate the Nature Boy in his retirement, and months later he shows up in TNA like it didn't mean a damn thing. That's how insulting this was. This was actually even worse. Flair, I guess I understood. He lived his life too much. He lived his gimmick too much. He was broke. He had to come back. He didn't have a choice. So I guess, I mean, in that sense, at the same time, I want to blame him. I can't really blame him for coming out of retirement. He did what he had to do to persevere, so he didn't have people after him for alimony payments or child support or God knows what else.
Yeah. But Shawn Michaels is not in that.
Shawn Michaels does not have that excuse. He's not in that same financially destitute situation that Ric Flair is.
Yeah, like you said, he has come back multiple times to help put other guys over through his presence. He's a trainer on NXT. He shows up in movies. He's in one of their most recent Marine movies.
He's in the most recent Marine movie with Miz, and looking like he had a fun time doing it.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he loves just hanging around doing that.
And now, he went on. Here's the thing. Earlier in the year, he went on Sam Roberts' podcast and said, "If I were to return right now, I like what I'm doing right now. Like I know when I'm wrestling, I know when I'm not wrestling. Okay, if I were wrestling today, it would be for money, and I just don't want to do that."
I guess it just wasn't the right amount of money.
I guess it wasn't the right amount, Sean. I guess you weren't being specific enough. Because apparently the Saudi government offered up enough money for you to put your scruples aside, put on your spangly pants one more time, and be the heart bald kid one more time. No, I'm sorry. This was just another reason why I'm tuning out of Crown Jewel completely. Because I'm sorry, Sean. Okay, I know this guy idolizes Ric Flair. I know he worships the ground Flair walks on. He had nothing but respect for him when he was an active wrestler and after he retired. No one he had more respect for. Wanted to be him. Did everything. He wanted to do everything that Flair did. Well, I guess it shouldn't be any surprise now that HBK is picking up Flair's post retirement habits. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Why not? I hope that payout, Sean, was worth the hypocrisy. I really, really hope it was.
The only other person who's getting even as big a paycheck as he is, probably bigger, is Brock Lesnar. One of the few names that we understand because that's what he does it for, and he made no point.
We didn't think he'd be coming back. We thought he'd be just training up for his next big UFC fight, and say here he is showing up again, getting his rematch along with Braun Strowman.
Wait. No. Because of Crown Jewel, because of the money Brock got offered, WWE is willing to pay him so he could come back and make, in your opinion, one of the worst main events in modern history. Because he screwed up the Hell in a Cell main event. All because they had to set up the Crown Jewel match.
Just for this. So basically, on top of the fact that they screwed up what should have been a great Hell in a Cell match, now they're bringing back for a triple threat match, which ultimately is not going to mean anything. It's not.
No, there's no way Brock's winning the belt. You can think, oh, well, he'll be the first ever dual brand champion. No, there's no chance in hell that's going to happen. Because there's no way that they know 100% that he's going to win the belt when he goes to UFC. So if they did that and he lost, then there was once again no point, and Brock just has the belt, which he'll never defend.
I mean, Brock's not going to have the belt. He's still going to go off the UFC. So basically he comes in, takes a huge chunk of cash,
and skedaddles, just like always.
Maybe flops around for like 5-6 minutes, and that's it.
The only thing I can hope out of this is maybe he'll stick around to get the Bobby Lashley match. Maybe. And I sincerely doubt that's going to happen because of the trajectory they just put Bobby Lashley on.
Oh, yeah, and they'll bring back the Lion's Den just for kicks. Please. No. All right. Because there is no... If anyone could tune in, I mean, please, call me, message me, text me, call into the show. Tell me one redeeming aspect of Crown Jewel that has not... okay, maybe the AJ Styles Daniel Bryan match. Maybe.
That's if nothing happens to interfere, Miz.
Right. The one... I mean, even if Miz gets involved, okay, at least it would mean keeping a storyline going, which would be fine. Okay? Or, okay, like I said, you have... Okay, here's my scenario. Miz wins the World Cup. Daniel Bryan comes so close, so very close to dethroning AJ Styles, but comes up just short. And then Miz comes out and says, okay, whereas I went the distance and I won the World Cup and proved that I was the best in the world, proved that I was better than you, you couldn't get the job done against AJ Styles. No matter how good you wrestled, AJ was just that much better. That's why I'm going to challenge AJ Styles. That's why I'm going to win. That's why I'm going to challenge him, win the WWE Championship, and prove once and for all that I, Miz, am better than Daniel Bryan. See? There you go. There you go. A coherent storyline that makes sense out of a glorified house show that will ultimately mean nothing. You can actually make something out of nothing. Isn't that brilliant?
All we got is a show with 3 matches that infuriate us just because of the sheer premise of them. You know, the triple threat because what Brock had to come back for that.
And we know Roman's not going to lose.
Of course not. No, Brock will cost Braun or something like that. Then you get the World Cup, which is not worldly at all. It's just Americans.
It's an all-American. It's an all-American Cup. That's what it is. It's an all-American Cup. But they're not going to name that. They're going to name it World Cup just because.
And we have the tag match, which we could have had well over a decade ago, involving 4 people whose combined ages is 2 centuries.
Over 2 centuries. 206 years. 206.
With guys who we do not know. What do you think will happen if someone pulls a Kevin Nash and blows a quad?
Or, pulls an Undertaker from Melbourne and just blows up 5 minutes into the match. What do you think is going to happen?
Kane hasn't wrestled since Royal Rumble.
He hasn't
even had time to train.
He hasn't wrestled consistently in 3 years. Mm-hmm. Just about. He hasn't.
He got his little reunion with Daniel Bryan, which was nice. But when it came down to the main event, they had to do smoke and mirrors because he injured his foot because he hasn't had time to properly train.
Because he's almost 50 years old.
The only one out of all four of them who's had time to keep his body in shape is Triple H, and he can't carry all of them.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's good. It's fun to dig out your old toys every once in a while and reminisce and maybe even play with them a little. But here's the thing. Old toys eventually break. Okay? WWE goes to the well one too many times. Look what happened in Melbourne. Taker, Triple H. Should have been an epic main event that went 20 minutes too long, and Taker was worn out not even halfway into the match.
Imagine that this doesn't go. This goes semi-decent, and they think, well, then we will pull out Shawn and Taker one more time.
But okay, let me pose this question to people, to you, to everyone. Okay, let me ask this. No matter what the result is, does anyone honestly think we're going to be talking about this match 3-4 months from now, come WrestleMania time? Is anyone actually going to care about this match?
If everything goes according to plan, no. If everything goes 100% okay, everybody doesn't hurt themselves, and they get through the match semi-decently, no, absolutely not. If the only way someone's going to talk about this is if somebody gets hurt, and that's not something you want
Basically, the only way anyone's going to care about this if one of the guys ends up halfway dead. That's just about the only way anyone's going to care about this match. Otherwise, oh, yeah, when it's planned, okay, big whoop. Moving on.
Speaking of, the last thing I can bring up is the sheer fact that once again the women can't show up, and this time your consolation is Evolution.
Consolation is the first ever all-women's pay-per-view in WWE history.
Which is nice, if it didn't have the drawback that it's all because of this.
Exactly. Last year, all they could do, nice little payout as consolation for the fact. Mm-hmm. But this year, no, don't worry, you girls get your own pay-per-view. I don't know how well we'll build up to it, but you're going to get your own pay-per-view. Isn't that exciting?
We have our own issues with Evolution.
But that will save that for next week.
Yeah. All we have other than that are matches, which once again, it's going to be predictable. Nothing's going to happen, and it's just going to be a payday for them and not enjoyable for us. Therefore, we're not going to bother covering.
Par for the course
When they do this.
So no,
I wish I could be excited for something like this. I wish, but they went about it the worst way, and just like with Brock when he got caught with steroids in UFC, they glossed over it and found a way to keep him around.
Exactly. Except this time, this is an international incident, and it's not something just like steroid, someone getting caught using drugs.
Yeah.
That you could easily gloss over. This is not something you can gloss over. Okay, and here's the thing: it's either going to take a public stance from one of the current superstars on the roster, or
ones that they can't say, well, we don't need you. That's a Roman Reigns. That's a Seth Rollins. That's an AJ Styles. That's a Samoa Joe. Those are like the top names because they're not gonna. No one from back then. None of the Ruthless Aggression Attitude Era guys are gonna say it because they don't need to. They are happy. They're nice where they are.
Exactly. They're well off.
They're not the future. They're the past. You need the future guys that are the current top tier.
And either that or unfortunately, it's going to take Vince's good buddy, President Trump, to come in and say, okay, what's going on with Khashoggi, what's going on in the government, I don't want you going over there. That's what it's going to take. That's it's going to be one or two things.
Yeah.
It's either going to be one of the current superstars coming out and saying, we don't want to do this. We are not comfortable with this. We are not putting ourselves at risk just so you can get a payday. It's either that.
You know what would stop them? A wrestlers union.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wrestlers union could have solved so many problems. Okay. It could have solved so many things. Mm-hmm. But, okay, it's not. okay, just because it could doesn't mean it'll ever happen.
True.
I mean, if they were going to form a union, they would have done it by now.
I'm hoping Cody gets it done. I am.
I hope so. I mean, he's done. I mean, even if he hasn't been blowing people away in the ring, what he's done with his career outside WWE, what he's done in terms of organizing a pay-per-view just on his merit and the Bullet Club's merit alone, that's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So if anyone could put together a wrestlers union, it would be Cody Rhodes.
I honestly see him doing it. I honestly see him continuing, cementing his legacy the way his dad did, in and out of the ring.
I think so.
But that's something that we have to hope for the future. It's not something that can help us.
It's not something that's going to go down now, but hopefully for the future.
Yeah. So how you feel, man? We deconstructed it.
Chant with me. Okay. All right. Well, look, we've said our piece. All right. We said everything that we really wanted to get out about our issues.
If there's anyone who wants to watch, you're just gonna have to tune into WWE Network to get it, or get your review somewhere else.
Because we're not touching this with a 20-foot.
We're not saying we're taking the high ground, but we're doing this for our own personal benefit.
We're not touching this event with a 4,000 mile pole. However long it is, we're not touching it.
Mm-hmm. Trust me, if there's anything of note that we need to know, we'll know about it on Raw the next Raw.
We will. Otherwise, this is all you're going to hear from it. This is Ken. This is Ken Hill. This is Dan Kaufman for Wrestling Connection, Bedford TV. Signing out. Next week, we will be bringing you view coverage of WWE Evolution, first ever women's pay-per-view, all women's pay-per-view in WWE history. We will be bringing live coverage of all the matches, including the also sought after main event, Ronda Rousey defending her Raw Women's Championship against Nikki Bella, and we'll have so much to say about that,
because that is honest to Jeebus, 50-50 chances.
And of course, I'll have some vested interest in that match, considering that if Nikki Bella were to somehow win that match, I will.
Yes. I won't pick her in my predictions, but that's the only reason I'd root for her.
You'll be crossing your fingers, won't you?
Behind my back.
Oh yeah.
Just so you could see it, but not the screen.
All right. So like I said, for Ken Hill, for Dan Kaufman, we want to wish everyone here a safe and happy weekend, and we'll see you all next Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp. And remember, as always, to be connected,
get connected,
stay connected.
Play us out, Kermit.
I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's some things that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the Wrestling Connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.